Hello everybody, this is Zoe from No Safer Place, and today I thought I would do a bit of a controversial video because who doesn't love unpopular opinions? So I went onto Instagram and onto my YouTube channel and asked you guys what your unpopular bookish opinions were. It didn't have to be strictly YA, it could be anything bookish related that a lot of people liked but you just didn't. So was there a series that everyone seems to love that you just hate? Is there a character that everyone fawns over but you just think is gross? And those are the kinds of opinions that I was searching for. I am going to keep them all anonymous because I'm not sure if people want their opinions to be broadcasted to the world. So let's get them up because I've got a few. I'm not sure if we'll be able to go through them all because, as I say, there is a lot of them. So let's get on with the video. I did it from two accounts, so we'll do my personal account first and then we'll go over to the business account and see what everyone's saying over there. So the first one is the Hunger Games and Twilight series aren't great. Now I do actually agree with that. I think they are good, but they're not amazing. There are plenty of other series that are so much better and much better written. So yeah, with that one I feel like Twilight definitely isn't great writing. The Hunger Games, it was good for its time, I guess. I think now YA is so much more popular, so there's a lot more to choose from in terms of what we think is good and what we think is great. But yeah, I do agree with that one. I do have a lot of Sarah J Maas ones. I'm going to go through them individually anyway, and if I've already covered a point of that, I'll just say we've been over that already. So the first one is Sarah J Maas is so overrated. I do agree. There are plenty of YA authors that are just as good or even better than Sarah J Maas. I just for some reason think that her two main series just went viral for whatever reason and everyone is now obsessed with them and their characters. Yeah, I'm not going to say she is terrible because I don't think she's terrible, but she is massively overrated. It's kind of how I feel about people like Lady Gaga and Beyonce. They are amazing, yes they are, but they are not the best of the best. That's an unpopular opinion right there. The next one is I don't like The Hating Game. I don't really know anything about The Hating Game. All I know from quickly googling it just now is that it's a rom-com about two people that hate each other that then become lovers. It sounds like a very cliche book, I'm not gonna lie, but a lot of rom-coms are, and if you're into that kind of thing, I understand why it would be appealing. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of rom-coms, so I don't feel like I can comment on that one properly, but I do know it's a really popular book. The next one is The Hunger Games shouldn't have got a prequel. Agreed. I did buy it. I didn't read all of it. I think I read about a quarter of it and it was okay, but I feel like that space could have been taken up by up-and-coming talents and people that really needed a voice at the moment, especially in the current climate that we're in. So yeah, I do agree. It did seem a little unnecessary, especially being about President Snow. The next one is sex scenes shouldn't be in YA. I hard disagree with this one. Why should they not be in YA? Young adults have sex. I know that young adults also don't have sex because when I was a young adult, I did not. I was a fully grown adult before I did. But yeah, I knew a lot of my friends were, and to not have them in YA would be a completely unrealistic portrayal of being a young adult, so hard disagree. The next one is young adult and new adult are the same. Disagree with that one. I think new adult is there to incorporate a lot of things that are too safe for young adult books, because obviously young adult books, people can be reading them who are 12, 13, and I don't think it is particularly appropriate to put certain things in young adult, which is why they fall under the new adult category. Like back to Sarah J Maas, but a lot of her books are classed as new adult because the content is a bit more adult than what is required for a young adult book. That's just my opinion. The next one before we go on to the other account is 50 Shades isn't that bad. I agree with that. I do agree that it's not the best erotic fiction. Of course it's not. No one ever claimed that it was. But if you just want a light erotic read where nothing's too serious and you just want a break from reality, I really enjoyed the series personally. I read it a long time ago now, but when I read it I don't remember thinking, oh, this is so awful. It wasn't spectacular, but I didn't go away thinking it was the worst series I ever read. Now, there were a lot more responses on my Bookish account, so buckle your seatbelts. Okay, the first one is I don't like A Court of Thorn and Roses series. Now, I do disagree with this one because the first two I absolutely adored. I thought they were amazing. And I didn't get into the Throne of Glass series, which is another series by J Maas, but I loved A Court of Thorn and Roses. And then I got to the third one and it was garbage. Absolute garbage. I know that's really unpopular, but wow. We spent the whole series building up to a moment, a battle, and that battle lasted like 50 pages, and the rest of the 500 pages of that book were just smut and sex scenes, and yeah. I disagree with the first two because they were good, but yeah, the last one made it less than average. The next one is I prefer long chapters. Ew. Ew is all I will say on that. I hate long chapters. Short chapters are what I live for when reading, so I disagree with that massively. I like knowing that I can just read for 20 minutes and not have only read one chapter. I like mini chapters. The next one is I don't like floppy paperbacks. I love floppy paperbacks. American paperbacks are so much better than English ones. They have this real kind of floppiness to them and it's so much better. I love American paperbacks, and I'm sorry, but I love floppy paperbacks. They're so much better to read. You can bend them without cracking the spine, like so many perks of them. The next one is Jane Eyre. I hate that book. This is a two-parter. That's the first one. I've got to say, I haven't read it. I am not a massive lover of classics, especially lovey-dovey classics, so I can't comment on that, but I know that it is controversial because I know so many people that love that book or claim to love that book. That's how I feel about classics. People claim to have read them and claim to like them, but secretly they just haven't read them at all. So yeah. And the second part, this one is interesting. The Fault in Our Stars, I found them so entitled. Now I feel like that is really controversial because obviously the book is about two people having cancer, so you feel like you can't say a bad thing about them. But yeah, I do kind of agree with that one. I haven't read it in a really long time, so my memory is a little vague of it, but I feel like you're so emotionally invested in what happens to them that you don't see their flaws. And I guess them being entitled isn't a bad thing necessarily. I guess if you've had a blow like finding out that you have cancer, you do become a little bit selfish and entitled. So is that unpopular? I don't know. I feel like it's a brave thing to admit, but I don't think that it's unpopular. Okay, the next one is Harry Potter was good when it was first released, but now there are so many better books out there. I do agree that there are many better books out there, and I think for its time it was a great series, and I feel like I'm slightly biased because although I hate J.K. Rowling, it does have such a special place in my heart, that series. When people say that it's overhyped and overrated, I find it hard to agree with that because I love the series so much. But yes, there are better books out there. 100% agree with that. The next one is anything from Sarah J Maas and Cassandra Clare. I just can't. I really can't love their books. So I'm going to put Sarah J Maas aside. We've spoke a bit about her. Cassandra Clare was one of the first YA authors that I ever read, and I was obsessed with her and her work and read every single thing of hers until up to about 3 years ago, and I just kind of fell out of love with her writing. I feel like I matured more than her writing had, and I felt like it wasn't really for my age range anymore, which obviously it's not. I mean, I'm nearly 27 now, so it definitely wasn't written for my age group, but I felt like it was really obvious that it wasn't. And even the adult Malik novel, I think it was adult, I don't know, I've got it but I haven't read it. I just felt like she milked the Shadowhunter series, and even rereading the Shadowhunter series back, I remember them being much better than they actually were. So I feel like it had a special place in my heart because it was one of the first YA series I kind of read. But yeah, I don't think they are great books at all. and I know that that is something I never thought I'd be saying on my YouTube channel, especially because I've been such a massive fan of Cassandra Clare for so long. But yeah, I do agree. The next one is Six of Crows is boring. Now I know that that's a huge series, but it's fantasy and I don't read all that much fantasy. I never read that much YA fantasy even when I was in the YA community quite heavily, but I haven't read it, so I don't feel like I can comment too much on that. It's YA fantasy, so it probably is boring. Next one is Sarah J Maas isn't as bad as everyone makes out. Now I love that that is classed as an unpopular opinion because just the whole of the YA community seems to dislike her. So the unpopular opinion is actually liking her. Yeah, like I said, I don't think she is awful. I don't hate her. I just dislike some of her writing. But she isn't as bad as everyone makes her out to be. It's not like she's a god-awful writer. It's just a bit cliche and too much sex for me. If I wanted to read erotic books, I would. I don't go into a young adult / new adult book wanting to read sex scene after sex scene after sex scene. So yeah, I do agree with that one. And I think this is going to be the last one because this video is going to be way too long if not. And it is I hated Heartless. Now I'm assuming they mean Heartless by Marissa Meyer. And I didn't hate that book. I actually really liked that book. My god, it took me so long to read. I hated the font of that book. It was atrocious. I hated it so much that I actually had to order that book from America and read it in an American format because the font was different in that style. But god, the English version was atrocious. I don't know if this person read the book or just opened the first page and saw the font and was like, oh my god, it is some intimidating font, let me tell you. I am really big on different fonts. I like my fonts to be not too small, not too big, and really clear and easy to read. I wish I still had that copy of Heartless so I could show you how atrocious that font was. I haven't read too many Marissa Meyer books, so I don't feel like I can comment on her as a whole, but I did enjoy Heartless. Wasn't the best book I ever read, but it wasn't the worst. So yeah, I think we will leave it there with all the unpopular opinions. Do you have any unpopular bookish opinions? I would love to know. Please leave them in the comments so we can get talking about them, because I feel like we're all mature enough now to have an unpopular opinion and express it and not get annoyed with that person, even if it's our favourite book. I mean, I've had people come to me before who I've recommended my favourite books to who have said, that wasn't for me. And it's like, okay, well, that's great. It was for me. It wasn't for you. Not everyone can like the same things. The world would be boring if we did. So yeah, leave them in the comments. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a like, comment, subscribe, all that usual good stuff. Also, you can turn the notification bell on to be notified when I upload new videos, which is usually every Tuesday and every Saturday. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. Let me know what you would like to see more of on my channel, and I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you. Bye.